Hello friends, here I am with a new video. For quite a few days, I have been thinking there are so many shooters all across the world, millions of shooters, and in India itself, there must be more than 3 to 4 lakh shooters. With so many shooters, why is it that a handful of shooters reach the top level? One of the differences between an ordinary shooter and an international class shooter is the fact that an international shooter trains very systematically. On the other hand, an ordinary shooter, and you see them working very hard every day on the shooting range, and they will go and shoot 100, 200, 300 shots, just banging away day in and day out, with the hope that somehow their scores will improve. Now, that doesn't happen. Unfortunately, for these shooters, the scores go up and down. When the scores are high, they're on the top of the world. When the score drops, they're down in the dumps. If a shooter wants to get out of this up and down cycle, then he must find a good coach and he must train systematically. If you train systematically, you will not only save your money, but you will also save time. And time is money. Unfortunately, when you are young, time is like a tap. Just open the tap, it flows, and you feel that you have all the time in the world. Unfortunately, 3, 4, 5 years down the line, some of these shooters find it even difficult to qualify for the national championships. In the national championships, you need a minimum qualifying score to participate. Unfortunately, some of these shooters take years to even reach the minimum qualifying score. And that is all because of a lack of systematic training. And no amount of banging away on the shooting range, firing tins of pellets day in and day out, it's not going to help you. What happens is after a period of time, and you find that your scores are not going up, you get frustrated and give up the sport. When you give up the sport, and years down the line, when you look back, you will always look at it with regret. And you'll always carry this self image of being a failure in the sport of air pistol shooting. And mind you, it is not your fault. That picture could have been very different if you would have trained systematically. The second thing that I wish to talk about is that even though a good coach is available, people don't want to change. They feel that they're smart enough to learn on their own. Even I thought the same thing. When I just started my shooting, I thought I was the cat's whiskers. I could learn on my own. I was very sharp. But 15, 20 years down the line, I realized that I had lost a lot of time. And that is precisely one of the best shooters in India at that point of time told me that, Hemant, you should employ the services of a good coach because you will save time. The next thing I want to talk about is that the difference between an ordinary shooter and a world-class shooter is self-discipline. If you are not disciplined, however much talented you may think you are not going to go up. Your scores are not going to go up. You have to discipline yourself. And one of the best ways of disciplining yourself is learning to post your diary, learning to write in your diary. Now, I have this mental shooting program where, as you know, the aiming process and the trigger operation become automatic as soon as the sights come into the aiming area. Now, this mental shooting program is open to only those shooters in my group who regularly post their diaries. I have more than 1,700 shooters all across the world who have subscribed to my basic membership. Out of these members, we have about 83 paid members, the elite members. And out of these 83 members, hardly 20 to 25 shooters post their diaries regularly. That is discipline. And I come to know from the way that they are posting their diaries how sincere and how motivated they are. And it is only these shooters whom I pick and or invite into the mental shooting program. So learn to post your diary. Learn to write your diary. It will motivate you. It will provide you a goal for your training. It will provide you the inputs. It will tell you how many hours you have put in, how many shots you have fired, and what your output was. Unfortunately, most of the shooters, the ordinary shooters, they always measure their performance with the score that they have shot in their training. In my style of training, we don't go on the score. We have a very different measurement system which precisely measures your input and compares it with the output and gives you your result in the form of percentage. For example, some of my shooters who are working on a specific exercise, you will find in the diaries that they have achieved, for example, 75% or 85%. And once you have quantified your input or you have a measurement, then that becomes the goal for your next training session. If you have achieved 75%, then you improve it to 80%. And therefore, your training becomes very focused. Not only does it become focused, but the very act of writing down your diary in a positive manner helps you to motivate yourself, and above all, posting your diary every day disciplines yourself. And without discipline and without motivation, you have high hopes of ever becoming an international shooter or a top class shooter. Now, another thing that I've noticed is it's great to watch these videos. It's great to watch the videos put up by some of the best shooters and some of the best coaches on Facebook. But watching is one thing and implementing is another. And if you wish to implement whatever you have heard and listened to and enjoyed, then you must write it down in your diary. So start posting your diary, discipline yourself, and if you wish to know how you can train systematically and methodically so that from an ordinary shooter you become an international top class shooter, then definitely try out my online training modules. Thank you.